The national debt has exceeded $27 trillion.
Oh my gosh. I heard what the US have a national debt $22 trillion. But anyway, it is really a lot.
Over double the amount of debt owed during the 2008 financial crisis.
Hello everyone. Hello. My name is Alex and I'm studying English. And today we will watch another video. And this video about USA. And this video named The United States National Debt. Why you should care. Yes. Of course, I think this topic are difficult for discussing when you have poor vocabulary, but I believe what I will understand overall this meaning, and yes, that's why I will watch this video with the subtitles, and this, if I will not understand something, I will translate these words. Okay, and you can help me. Yes, you can leave a like and subscribe to me. I appreciate it very much. Okay, let's go.
The debt is growing faster than the economy, than the nominal GDP. And ultimately, in the long run, that's not a sustainable place to be.
The reality is that the math and the numbers behind the fiscal condition of our country are really impossible to reconcile with a rosy future.
We're dealing with a fiscally unstable long-term outlook in which inflation will take hold.
Debt is everywhere. It's as good as money, and it's essential to our economy. Debt can be used to pay for college, buy a car, buy a house, and pay for that new iPhone, even though yours works just fine. People, companies, and governments all overspend money that they don't actually have. Debts are continuously downplayed and even considered normal. But today, it's time to discuss the national debt crisis of the United States. As of November 2020, the national debt has exceeded $27 trillion.
Oh my gosh. I heard what the US have a national debt $22 trillion. But anyway, it is really a lot.
Over double the amount of debt owed during the 2008 financial crisis. But why should you care? And how does this affect you as an individual? Well, hang on tight, because I'm about to tell you right now. In simple terms, debt is money in circulation that has not been repaid. Just like you have to make car payments or a mortgage payment each month, countries must also have a debt repayment plan. When the federal government and the people spend more than they make, we must borrow money to make up for that deficit. Each year's deficits are added to the growing national debt. Top contributors to our annual financial deficit include increasing healthcare costs and an inadequate tax system that does not generate enough revenue to pay for the services it promises its citizens. Now, if you miss a payment on your car,
I want to immigrants helping to pay this national debt because they're working. Yes, and they can help to have balance in this situation. Yes.
they're gonna come repossess that car from you right away. Not that it's happened to me before or anything. But unlike a person or a business, a country can't just declare bankruptcy and have their assets repossessed. The government is forced to restructure their debt payment schedule instead of defaulting or not paying it at all. When the debt increases, the likelihood of the people and government defaulting on their payments also increases. This means that borrowing money for both personal use and businesses becomes more difficult. Interest rates grow higher, and fewer jobs are created through government spending. Eventually, this leads to slower economic growth, and lastly, taxes will be raised. When the government can't make revenue through typical means to pay off their debts, it will turn to raising taxes for consumers and property owners. For future homeowners, higher interest rates means you won't be approved for larger loans because more of your money will be spent towards paying the interest. For example, it costs $5,000 to borrow $100,000, also known as a 5% interest rate. This means that overall, you'll be paying $105,000 for a $100,000 house. Now imagine if interest rates are 10 or even 20%. All borrowers who are looking to purchase houses in the $100,000 range are forced to move lower to the $80,000 to $90,000 range. The result will put downward pressure on existing home values and the entire housing market, which leads to the reduced net worth of all homeowners. Over time, people will begin to experience a lower standard of living because borrowing for economic enhancement projects becomes more difficult. Imagine if you didn't get approved for the house you live in right now.
The consequences of not addressing it are just that we'll be spending more and more, our kids really, and grandkids, they'll be spending their tax dollars servicing debt rather than on the things they really need. As I mentioned earlier, education, healthcare, security, all the things that we need, that they'll need.
And perhaps the most important, the higher this debt grows, the higher the chances are that the country will default on their debt payments, resulting in the country losing social, economic, and political power. As we all know, your credit goes down if you can't make your payments on time. It works the same internationally between different countries. Over 1/3 of the United States' debts are owed to foreign countries. This turns the national debt issue into a national security issue. When a country can no longer repay their debts, they are forced to restructure their repayment systems. Typically, this is done by devaluation of their national currency in order to make the debts more affordable to repay. This leads to inflation, and that $1 junior bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's is now $1.99. So, how can you protect yourself? We're going to look at 3 ways you can hedge against inflation due to increasing national debt. First is to diversify internationally. There are several major economies in the world, such as Australia or South Korea, that do not move in tandem with the United States economy. Investing in foreign stocks can continue to provide fixed income while things aren't doing so good at home. Second, investing in commodities. By definition, a commodity is an economic good that has full or substantial fungibility, unaffected by who produces them. Popular commodities include crude oil and precious metals like gold and silver. These are known as hard commodities. Soft commodities can generally be grown or farmed, like rice and wheat. And lastly, of course, we wouldn't be discussing this on our channel unless it included crypto. We already know that Bitcoin is a trustless, peer-to-peer electronic cash system. There is a finite supply, meaning it can't be overspent like debt, and it can't be printed like fiat. It's an international currency that isn't pegged to any one country and can be sent across borders seamlessly, because, well, the internet has no borders. We hope that this video has been able to shed some light on the national debt crisis that we're currently experiencing in America. The media is good at diverting attention away from this topic and making it sound like everything is always under control. But if you're a young person, you should be paying attention because this is your future. It could affect you in more ways than you think. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of content, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, hodl, secure your crypto, and may Satoshi and Vitalik be with you always.
Yes, I watched this. I was trying to watch this carefully, and it is a really interesting topic. Of course, I didn't expect here what he will give advices. I was thinking what he will say only about national debt use of the USA. But these advices are really useful, not only for people who live in the USA, because I think all countries in the world, not all, but most of all countries in this world have national debt, and it is important to understand this, what this national debt exist. And of course, just all countries have different size of national debt, yes. And yes, his advices are useful for everybody, and of course young people should think about this topic because it is useful for understanding what is happening, and investing. I think it is a really useful advice because I think what it is really helping in this situation. Yes. Yes, and thank you for watching me. Thank you for supporting me. Yes, this topic was really interesting and difficult, and you can support me. You can leave a like and subscribe to me. I appreciate it very much. And yes, see you next time.